let's fix this mess. It's dusty, it's crusty. We got to change it up. So the aim of the game today is to sort out this TBR cart and put on this level next year's TBR. I've got 12 books, one for each month, to put on this shelf. And then on this shelf, I think it's just ones that I want to get to soon, hopefully. Ones that are kind of caught my attention. So we're taking the proofed copies off the top, we're taking these off, and then we're gonna dust it and just give it some zhuzh, you know, just zhuzhing it up. She's a lot dusty. I have been neglecting her, so let's take this off. The bottom shelf is where I keep all my tarot decks and oracle decks, but it's kind of also become a catch-all for just shit. So yeah, this is something I bought in TK Maxx. I need to hang it on the wall in my bedroom. It's a mirror, but I think you can change. No, you can't. I thought you could. But yeah, it's a mirror. It's cute. Going on my wall eventually. But yeah, I've got so many tarot decks. Jack Skellington. I blame Hazel, who's laying here, for the majority of the dust. You hear that, Hazel? I'm blaming you. She doesn't give a single fuck. This is the deck I'm using at the minute. The actual deck is in a pouch in my bedroom, but this is the ones that they are. They are the maker. Yeah, they're beautiful. They really are. I also like using this deck. So that's kind of like the artwork. And when you open it, it used to scream. So I've put my essential oils in here as well. I'm just going to kind of balance Jack Skellington back on there. Let's clear you off as well. My Jellycat pumpkin. So these are proof copies that I'm very behind on. Oh my god. Where did the dandelion fluff get in here? This one I'm really excited for. She previously wrote The City of Stardust, a really slept on book. I think I might reread it after this one. But I'm excited for this one. And I'm not so excited for this one because I don't really get on with Stephanie Garber, but I have the proof copy of Alchemy of Secrets. For a proof copy, that's really beautiful. So we'll see. I have a proof copy of Bitten. I'm not excited for that. Would like to read that. This is like a colouring. You can colour your own proof copy. I might do that. Sad Girl Hours. This is a YA romance, queer romance about a girl who has SAD or SAD when the seasons change into autumn winter. I'm the opposite. And then we've got a Scottish ghost story called Hawthorne. I think I might save this for December. This is giving wrap up with a blanket and a cup of hot mulled wine. That's what that's giving. Thorn Season. I was excited for it, but the reviews have not been great. Hecate. I might get rid of the proof copy because It's out now, and I am going to get the special edition. I got a proof copy of a retelling of Oliver Twist by Nancy's point of view. So that one's interesting. I've not read Oliver Twist. I've watched the movie, I know the story. This one I was excited for, and now I've lost the urge. I even put a bookmark in it. I will read it eventually. There's a mirror that I need to hang up in my bedroom. It fell off the wall. Luckily it didn't hit my head, but I've got to hang that up. Laini Taylor's book, The Guardians of Dream Dark, has been re-released in the UK. Season of Fear. I have the NetGalley copy as well, but I might read the proof instead. This is so beautiful. I think it's dark academia. A perfect blend of horror and romance. So, okay. And House of Monstrous Women, which is a horror that I might read for October. Might not. And then the rest of the crap that's in here is some candles. My personalised jewellery box that my best friend got me for my birthday last year. No jewellery in it. A hammer for hanging up those things. A very dusty potato that when you whack it, it lights up, but I haven't charged it in a hot minute. So hence why he is a sad potato. Look at that belly. We're built the same. Charger cable. And another charger cable for my old phone, because these are lightning connections. My one is now USB-C or whatever it is. Oh, a bookmark. Very dusty, from Hampton Court. Another cable. USB-C, so this one will be more in. Stickers, command strip stickers for hooks, but no hooks. Botanical cards from Witch Casket. I don't know why they're separate from the rest of my witchy books. Money bowl, a very dusty money bowl spell from Witch Casket. A wooden sword. Another cable. A big command strip hook. Empty command strip packet. So let's start with putting next year's TBR onto the shelf. So let's start with the bigger books, because they're gonna be a bit trickier to get in. As I said, I've got 12, one for each month next year. But I'm not doing them in any particular order. It just depends on how I feel, what I'm up for. So the first one is Fame by Anne-Marie MacDonald. This is queer historical fiction, page-turning queer story of longing, belonging, history and identity. So there's that one. I've got Salman Rushdie's Victory City, which is kind of historical fiction / fantasy. It's about a woman who breathes a fantastical empire into existence, only to be consumed by it over the centuries. So her life becomes interwoven with the kind of empire that she creates. It's a saga of love, adventure and myth that is in itself a testament to the power of storytelling. Very excited for that one. Most of these are like historical fiction or literary fiction, because that area of my library is very kind of neglected at the minute. I'm reading a lot more fantasy, which is the ones that are over there. But anyway, I digress. I also have Ada's Realm, which is again historical fiction, literary fiction. It kind of delves within different times. So we've got Ada in Ghana, grieving the loss of her child, and then Portuguese traders come, the first white men to arrive in the village, and the repercussions of that. And then there's also, centuries later, Ada Lovelace. Ada, a prisoner forced into sex work in a Nazi concentration camp. Ada, a pregnant Ghanaian woman with a new British passport in 2019. So it's revolves around different Adas throughout history and what they go through. So I'm very excited for that one. I have Colson Whitehead's The Underground Railroad. The Underground Railroad in America during the enslavement of black people. Oh cool, okay, so it's like a physical interpretation of the Underground Railroad with an actual train, which is really interesting. Then onto the paperbacks. I have some really chunky ones. I think I'm being a little bit too overzealous. I've got Eleanor Catton's The Luminaries, which is Victorian gold mining in New Zealand. Yes, New Zealand. It's huge. It's also about kind of the people, not just gold diggers, but also kind of like the sex workers, the wealthy people, the people that are making money off of the fortune hunters. So huge. I've chosen Margaret Atwood's The Blind Assassin, which is basically 10 days after the World War II ends, our main character's sister kills herself by driving her car off of a bridge. And I think she leaves behind a book, because it's like a book about books. And it's also about the main character remembering her sister. I've already divided the parts up to make it a little bit more digestible, which I need to do with the Luminaries. Helene Wecker's The Golem and the Genie. New York in just at the turn of the century. It's about a Jewish golem made of clay, brought to life, and she arrives at New York alone. And then we've got Ahmad, who is a genie, trapped for centuries, and then is kind of invited to this tinsmith's workshop in Lower Manhattan, and it's kind of about experiencing freedom for the first time and friendship, and you know, just trying to make your way in the world in a very dark city at a very dark time. Then we have, there's not enough room, Amitav Ghosh, The Glass Palace, and this is historical fiction about love, war and family across 3 generations in Burma, Malaya and India before the door to Burma closes, and you know, partition and all that kind of stuff. So this was recommended to me by a customer at work. The Seed Keeper by Diane Wilson, and this is about native indigenous people to America and kind of learning about the women that came before her and stuff like that, belonging in community. And I am officially out of room. I wonder if these 3 will fit on top. Let's do a rejig. hopefully. I then have After Sappho by Selby Wynne Schwartz, which is set throughout history, women and trailblazers of the past and their constant efforts to push against the boundaries of what it means and can mean to be a woman. So it's kind of got Sarah Bernhardt, Colette, Lena Paletti, Josephine Baker, Virginia Woolf. I think it's going to be quite a quick read. So there's that one. Hello, you alright? You sitting over there? Is that better? Is it because of all the children? Yeah. Then I have Marine Lee, The 8 Lives of a Century-Old Trickster, and it's about a woman recounting her life as she is in a retirement home to a journalist, and it's about how she moves from World War II Indonesia to Busan during the Korean War. She is a spy, an escape artist, a murderer, a terrorist, a lover, a slave, a mother, and all these kind of different adventures and lives that she lives through just to survive. And the last book I've chosen is Flights by Olga Tokarczuk. Butchered that. It's about travel in the 21st century and human anatomy, broaching life, death, motion and migration. From the 17th century, we have the story of the Dutch anatomist Philip Verheyen, who dissected and drew pictures of his own amputated leg. From the 18th century, we have the story of a North African-born slave turned Austrian courtier, stuffed and put on display after his death. In the 19th century, we follow Chopin's heart as it makes its covert way from Paris to Warsaw. In the present, we have the harrowing story of a young husband whose wife and child mysteriously vanish on a holiday on a Croatian island. And this is translated from... I'm not sure what language it's translated from. I'm excited. So that is it gonna fit? Oh, wedge it in. I'm never gonna get them out. Oh god. Okay. They're in. So, as I said, I'm excited for the bookshop below. These feel very Christmassy, so they're going more at the other end. I'm not sure about that one. Am I going to get to the Devils this year? Probably not, so I'm going to put that there. I'm definitely not going to make it to The Way of Kings this year. It was on my TBR for this year, but that is just, that's too much for my brain to comprehend. Timber. I did start reading The Brass Wyvern by Bronte Marie, who is on TikTok. And I really enjoyed it. I don't know why I stopped reading it, to be fair. But I'm just, I think I've run out of fantasy energy. So I'm gonna put that there. I mean, I'm not getting rid of it. I do need to read Hellbent. The other ones I had, I think I am gonna read this. Joyce Carol Oates' Babysitter, and it's kind of like a horror. It's the end of the 1970s. There's unsolved killings in Detroit, and then there is a serial killer known as the Babysitter, and it's about different people and how their lives intersect. So yes, I'm putting that on the trolley. I did put I did put The Alchemy of Moonlight by David Ferraro on here. I'll put it on there for now. It's kind of like a YA fantasy with werewolves, and it's also very queer. So, I mean, it's perfect for October. One is No Gods for Drowning by Hailey Piper, and it's more of a horror fantasy. It's basically the old gods have fled. The monsters they had kept at bay for centuries now threaten to drown the city of Valentine. In the midst of the chaos, a serial killer has begun ritually sacrificing victims in order to summon her mother, a blood god, in the hopes of preventing Valentine's destruction. And Alex and Cecil of Ace Investigations have been tasked with hunting down the serial killer, but as they close in, the detectives realise the gods may not have left willingly, and they don't know that their friend is actually the serial killer. There's a lot going on here. Okay, I'm putting it on there. She said she was done with fantasy this year. In the second to last week of November, I'm going with my brother to York, and obviously York is very close to Hayworth, where the Brontes lived, so we're going to visit the Bronte parsonage, and I will be reading Wuthering Heights that week whilst I'm on holiday. And I think I might also read this one, which is 15 Wild Decembers by Karen Powell, and it is a historical fiction revisiting the lives of the Brontes, specifically Emily, who is the author of Wuthering Heights. So I think that one might be a really cute one to read as well. So I'm going to put that on here. I'm going to read The Myth of Normal, which is a non-fiction by Gabor Mate, written with his brother Daniel, and it's about illness, health and healing in a toxic culture. If you don't know, I have fibromyalgia and plenty of mental health illnesses, and this I think might help, if not make me think about my illness and how I can I don't know, understand it better. So I am popping that in. Been waiting to read this one for years because I've always wanted to read it when it's cold. So if I don't get to it in December, I'll get to it in January. But Let the Right One In by John... I can't pronounce that name. And it's basically about a child vampire who moves in next door to a young boy who is going through it and how they make friends. And it's obviously going to be quite dark. So there's that one. I've also got this intriguing book called Little by Edward Carey, and it is about Madame Two Swords, but like the beginning of it. So Marie Groscholtz, who is orphaned at the age of 6, finds employment in the house of reclusive anatomist Dr. Curtius, and her role obviously kind of gradually becomes one like his companion, and then he teaches her wax modelling from dead people, which will then eventually become Madame Tussaud, who did wax models of people, famous people, killers, that kind of thing. From the gutters of pre-revolutionary France to the luxury of the Palace of Versailles, from clutching the still warm heads of the terror to finding something very like love, Little traces the improbable fortunes of a blood-stained crumb of a thing who went on to shape the world. This is going to be weird, but at the minute I am really into the history of anatomists and kind of the body snatching era. So for the last two, I'm going with Deathless by Catherine M. Valente. This is about a young woman who becomes the wife of Koshai, the Tsar of Life, and how she follows him around for centuries. Fierce story of life and death, love and power, old memories, deep myth, dark magic, set against the history of Russia in the 20th century. There's that one. And the last one is Michelle Sloane's The Edinburgh Skating Club. So this is following two different timelines. So it's following a 18th century poet, Alison Cockburn, who accepts a light-hearted challenge from her friend Catherine Hume to live as a man in order to infiltrate Edinburgh's all-male skating club. And then in the present, art historian Claire Sharp receives a mysterious request to settle once and for all the true provenance of the iconic painting The Skating Minister. It's the tale of one woman's mission to infiltrate a male-dominated society. Imaginative, romantic, and ultimately moving, this time shift adventure celebrates the women overlooked by history. So yeah, I think that's a good little hopeful TBR. Yeah. So, hopeful TBR for the rest of the year, possibly into next year. Next year, let me get my foot out of the way. Next year's 12, kind of wedged in there, they're not moving. And then my tarot decks and everything. But yeah, it's looking quite good. I'll pop it back in my bedroom, put the pumpkins on, and then tidy up this mess. So thank you for watching, and I hope I see you next time.